Vallabha Girvaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjan Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Om Ajnanathimirandaksha Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shikta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sha Sri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitam Sha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपीक कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कंचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्राणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. So we have readings from Srimad Bhagavatam. Fourth canto, chapter number 7, text number 54. See if I can share this with you. See the screen. Here we go. 7:4:7:54. So I'll read the verse. Trayanam ekabhavanam yona pashyati vaividham sarvabhutatmanam brahman sa shantim abhigachyati. Translation. The Lord continued, one who does not consider Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, or the living entities in general to be separate from the Supreme, and who knows Brahman, actually realizes peace. Others do not. purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Two words are very significant in this verse. Trayanam indicates three, namely Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu. Bhidam means different. They are three, and therefore they are separate. But at the same time, they are one. This is the philosophy of simultaneous oneness and difference, which is called Achinta Bhed Bhed Tattva. The example given in the Brahma Samhita is that milk and yogurt are simultaneously one and different. Both are milk, but the yogurt has become changed. In order to achieve real peace, one should see everything and every living entity, including Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, as non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one is independent. Every one of us is an expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This accounts to unity in diversity. There are diverse manifestations, but at the same time, they are one in Vishnu. Everything is an expansion of Vishnu's energy. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pashyata Desitarine. So here we go again. So first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak this morning. And this is a wonderful verse, a wonderful canto, a nice chapter. And as we know, Lord Vishnu is speaking now. Prajapati Daksha has realized his heart is somewhat cleansed now by the instructions given to him by Lord Brahma. Is pretty specified, the whole episode of how he has become humbled. Now he has a goat's head, and the great yajna has to be continued once again. So now we know Lord Vishnu has descended at the arena, and he is speaking. Especially, he is addressing Lord Brahma with this verse today. And we know Lord Vishnu's instructions are always very informative. And as we know, because Daksha was very egotistic, he had, been very inimical, or had enmity, feelings of enemy towards Daksha. And as we know, things were not very nice. Things went very in another direction, what everyone did not expect. Lord Shiva became very angry. We also know that in due course, Sati left her body. There was great devastation of the Yajna arena by the associates of Lord Shiva. And eventually, things specified by the appearance of Lord Brahma. And then now finally Lord Vishnu appears and addresses Daksha. And as I said, Lord Vishnu's instructions are full of knowledge. And now when things have become very peaceful, these words of Lord Brahma is very conducive. He says that one who does not consider Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, or other living entities in general to be separate from the Supreme, and who realizes Brahman actually realizes peace. Others do not, because we know that Daksha was not at peace, because he was not properly situated. Although he is a very powerful living entity, he is a Prajapati, he is very effulgent, We know his personality is great. He is respected and worshipped by many in the universe because of his great position. He was in enmity to Lord Shiva, and thus all this difficulty uh, arose because of that. So in the purport, we will go through it, and we will see what Srila Prabhupada explains uh, during the course of this verse. He says the two words are very significant. Trayanam indicates three, namely Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu. Bhidam means different. So this is very important for us devotees to know. Like it is said that this is the philosophy. There are three, but therefore they are separate. But at the same time, they are one. This is the philosophy of simultaneously one and different, which is called Achinta Bhed, Bheda Tattva. The example is given in the Brahma Samhita, is that milk and yogurt are simultaneously one and different. Both milk, but both are milk, but the yogurt has become changed. In order to achieve real peace, one should see everything and every living entity, include Lord Brahma and Shiva, as non-different. So this is a wonderful thing that for us devotees to be very clear with the philosophy that is presented by Lord Chaitanya. Many people still today are very confused about this oneness and difference. People think, even today in India, in many places, people feel that they are God or one with God, because we are expansions of God, then we are God. But this philosophy of Achinta Bheda Tattva actually clarifies all the doubts, and we are in a very clear position where we know that we are one in quality with the Supreme Lord, but different in quantity. We are Anu, right? We are very insignificant, very tiny, small, but the Supreme Lord is Vibhu, is unlimited. And the other example to understand Achinta Bheda Tattva is very clearly explained in the Brahma Samhita, where in the verse it is explained that Lord Shiva especially is explained in the Brahma Samhita to be like yogurt, and Lord Vishnu or Krishna is like the milk. With the addition of an acidic agent to the milk, it transforms into yogurt. Similarly, to do the work of destruction in the material world, the Supreme Lord, expands his form into the form of Lord Shiva to for the business of doing annihilation as required by the Supreme Lord. So as you can see, both are milk products, namely milk itself and yogurt, but they are same, but they are not the same at the same time, because yogurt is yogurt and milk is milk. Both are milk products, but they cannot be called both milk, because the other one is transformed and become yogurt by the addition of the acidic agent, as explained in the Brahma Samhita. So this is because the Lord wants him to perform the duty of destruction when the time of annihilation comes. So Lord Shiva has his position, Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu and all other living entities here are to be considered to be one with the Supreme Lord. Like we always hear that the living entities are part and parcels of the Supreme Lord, right? So this Achinta Bheda Tattva is very clear, right? It is said, Jivera Sarup Hoye, Jivera Sarup Hoye,
Krishna Nitpadas.
what was that? Jiva Sarupa
जीवे
hai?
स्वरूप है कृष्ण नित्य दास।
Krishna Das, Krishna Tat Shakti, Bheda Bhed Prakash. Thank you, Mataji. I just clicked out from me. So Jivera Sarupa hoye, Krishna Nitya Das, Krishna Tatat Shakti. Tatashta Shakti means marginal potency. Bhed Abhed Prakash. So we are part and parcel of Krishna. We are one in quality with Krishna, but we cannot be in with the same quantity of Krishna. So here in the purport, Prabhupada explains that real peace, and also in the translation, is achieved when one is able to understand that we are all one big family, right? It is said Vasudevam Kutambam, right? Like because we are all part and parcel of Krishna, we are all expansions of Krishna. So in a way, we are non-different than Krishna, and simultaneously, we are different from Krishna, right? Same example of the yogurt and the milk. Same example of being us being Anu and Krishna being Vibhu, right? We cannot be Krishna. So this doctrine of everyone is God, if sometimes people speak in India, Baddha Bhagavan che, everyone is God. This is a big, misunderstanding, big misunderstanding. We are not God. We are part and parcel of God. And so one who understands everything correctly through the eyes of scripture, if we see things like this explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's explained by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada used to always say that this Bhakti Vedanta purports, I read myself. He always encouraged his disciples to not only distribute his books, but also thoroughly, scrutinizingly read these books. Once in Bombay, he told my Gurudev, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he said, our devotees should know our books like a lawyer knows his law books. So he said, even I, who have written these books, read my own purports, my own books, he said, because I did not write them. He said these books were, by dictated by Krishna, and I took Krishna's dictations and wrote this. So when we read Bhaktivedanta purports, we no doubt get very clear idea of where everything stands. When we see things through the eyes of the scriptures, when we become Sastra Chakshus, everything becomes very clear. So we are very fortunate to have Prabhupada written these wonderful books and given his Bhaktivedanta purports, which he says that are dictations of Krishna. So how fortunate we are having this very clear knowledge. So yes, when we understand that where we are and where is the position of Krishna, what is the position of Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, then we can be at peace. Otherwise, we cannot be at peace. So this Shastra takes us to that. The next point I would like to make is, like it is mentioned, that we are one with the Supreme Lord in a way, like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and everyone. That's what in this verse, Lord Vishnu is trying to explain to Daksha. And he also says in the end that one who understands this truth properly actually realizes peace. Others do not. So yes, we can see that people are not peaceful because they don't realize this oneness. So if we see this oneness, then this verse in the Vedic scriptures, Vasudeva Kutambam, is very appropriate, that everyone is the children of Vasudeva. We are all, siblings in one way. And just like in a family, if we narrow it down, when we go to our families, we have our siblings, although we are one family, but we are different people of different natures. We are different. but we are one family. Just like in this country, we always hear in the news, the Prime Minister says, we are a team of 5 million. So of course that's true. You know, we are Kiwis, we are a team of 5 million. We have to play this together. We always hear that. But within this team of 5 million, we are all different people. We are people from different cultures, from different countries, different education backgrounds, you know, different ages. So within this oneness of being a team of 5 million, there is variegatedness. There is always all this, you know, variety. So this is how we should understand that although we are all one in one way, but we are still all different. So if we understand, then it is said that we become peaceful. I've made some points here. So if we see everyone as part and parcel of God, and every living entity in this world is, you know, like related to each other, because we have one Father, Vasudev, Krishna, and we are all his children, then there is no question of fighting with each other, because we all have one problem. When we see through the eyes of the scripture, we see that all the living entities in the material world have one problem, that we have forgotten our Supreme Father, Krishna. That is our main problem. And the second problem is that some or other we should, you know, do everything properly, correctly, you know, taking shelter at the right place, and make it, make ourselves go back to our Supreme Father, because we have lost him and we are struggling and suffering in the material world. You know, everything is there, you know, with the Supreme Father. Because of our forgetfulness of Krishna, you know, everyone is suffering. So this is our common problem. Everyone is suffering. And the solution is that we should try our best, you know, try in every way to get back to our Supreme Father. So this is the general problem of the living entity. Like it is said, Sarva Sukhina Bhavantu, that the Vaishnavas, the devotees of the Lord, want everyone to be happy. And the only way to become happy is to realize who your Supreme Father is, how, you know, we have lost our connection, you know, we have fallen down into this material world, and everyone in, you know, in every way is struggling some or other. You know, we may be rich, we may be poor, we may be in this country or that country, but, you know, no matter who we are, where we are, what we are, everyone is suffering one way or another, because the reason for this suffering is forgetfulness of our Supreme Father, Krishna. So if we understand this oneness, that we are all like siblings in this material world, and we all are suffering due to this one problem, then one can, you know, easily attain peace. Why not? Like in the Bhagavad Gita, the peace formula is given, right? The peace formula is Bhoktaram Jagatapasham Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suridam Sarvabhutanam Gyatva Mam Shanti Mruchati. Just extending it a little bit for what is explained here, how the living entities attain peace. In the Bhagavad Gita is further explained very nicely, the peace formula. Because we, you know, as explained in this verse, Bhoktaram Jagatapasam, because we want to become the Bhokta, right? We want to become the enjoyer. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, we want to become Maheshwara. We want to become, you know, the Lord of everything. Prabhupada says that we want to become the Lord of all that we survey. And our frustration of not finding the true friend, the true lover, that we are looking for that relationship, that wonderful friendship, but we are frustrated in our endeavors, not finding that relationship. So because we are trying to become the enjoyer, you know, we want to become the controller, the boss of everything. And because we want to reciprocate in a nice, true, loving relationship, in friendship, right? Because we are trying to attain this, and we cannot attain this because we are not the Lord. We are always unhappy, frustrated, and not peaceful. So if a living entity understands that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, Krishna is the supreme Lord, and he is the supreme friend, then automatically one will become peaceful. There is no unnecessary endeavor trying to achieve these things which are not possible for the living entity, right? Just like Jivera Sarupu Hoy Krishna Nitya Das, our constitutional position of the living entity, that we are naturally servants of the Supreme Lord. So when we are situated in our constitutional position as the servant of the Supreme Lord, we are totally at peace and happiness. So yes, so when we see things through the eyes of Shastra, when we understand the real peace formula, then definitely we are very peaceful. So we can see Lord Vishnu is addressing Daksha in this way, trying to explain to him, how he could be peaceful, because all this while until now, because his heart is now cleansed because of the instructions coming from the mouth of a pure devotee. This is another wonderful instructions. No matter how contaminated, egotistic, bad qualities we have, when we hear from the mouth of a pure devotee, immediate effect is made. Just like when Daksha heard from Brahma, his heart cleansed, and his enmity towards Lord Shiva got, cleansed away. So similarly, when we hear from Srila Prabhupada, from pure devotees, our hearts become cleansed, especially Bhaktivedanta purport. Here, when he hears, so my point was, I'm sorry, when Lord Vishnu speaks to Daksha, because he was not peaceful, this brings Daksha to more peace, these instructions from this verse today. So it's wonderful what Lord Vishnu had to say today. I'll just read it again. The Lord continued, one who does not consider Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, or the living entities in general to be separate from the Supreme, and who knows Brahman actually realizes peace, others do not, right? So devotees can realize peace. Just like there is one wonderful verse, very, very favorite verse from the Bhagavad Gita 54. Brahma bhuta prasanatma na sochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakti labate param. So the devotees are Brahma bhuta prasanatma na sochati na kankshati. They have no hankering, no lamentation in this material world. Another favorite verse which explains the condition of a pure devotee is in the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, text 6. This is one of my very favorite verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radok saja ahituki apriti hata ye atma saprasidati. The supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which one can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendental Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the soul. So devotional service, which is uninterrupted and unmotivated, completely satisfies the soul. So that is what is required by everyone, at every time. We can see that wasn't the situation of Daksha. He was not satisfied. There was something that was bothering him. Even today, all of us go through this. Something bothers us, all the time. We can see, if we see in a bigger way, the war in Ukraine, people are not satisfied, not happy. There is something bothering someone. So there is this war, uh, by a bigger country which is more powerful. The leaders are more arrogant. They know, they can take, they can bring the smaller countries under control. The ego situation is there. So therefore, in a big way, when we talk about a country, trying to dominate another country, because they are not happy about something, they want to become more powerful, more famous, or whatever the reason for this war may be. But we can understand that they are not happy, they are not satisfied, they're not peaceful. Similarly, if it's a country to a country, within a country, from one culture to another, within a family, from one sibling to another sibling, there's always this conflict going on. We are not happy about something. That's why we always create trouble. So therefore, to become peaceful, one has to take to the peace formula and become happy, just like it is stated, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma na sochati na kankshati. Yeah, ye atma saprasidati. That one will become completely satisfied. When one takes to the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, there is no way of becoming peaceful. There's no way of becoming peaceful. So I think I'll stop here. Someone wants to add or subtract. This was my first lecture on Zoom today.
Thank you, Prabhu, for a nice class. It's wonderful to have your association.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Just have to make one comment.
Yes.
Because of this conflict in Ukraine and Russia, some devotee mentioned a very good point.
Yes.
He said there can be no peace unless we recognize the common father of all the living entities. He said everybody is asking for brotherhood and sisterhood, but they're not going to the common father. So both have common father. So unless we recognize this, there will be no peace. Of course, you mentioned a very nice peace formula. So that is the conflict arising because people fail to have a recognized common father. Everything says, oh, this is my property now. Every property belongs to the father. So he has given everybody the allocated quota. So unless we accept that, there'll be conflict. Thank you, Prabhu.
Absolutely agreed. Yes. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Wonderful point. Yes. Unless we accept the Supreme Father, there cannot be peace. Yes. Anyone else? There's one point I just wanted to make about how I was just listening to this Prabhupada's memories on the YouTube video. Wonderful disciples. I think there are about 90 DVDs of Prabhupada's memories. I think hundreds of hours. And when Srila Prabhupada was in France, this is in the 1970s, and he was, this place was packed with a lot of devotees and lots of congregation members, and lots of guests had come. And there was someone at the back when Srila Prabhupada started his class was making a little bit of a commotion. So Prabhupada was a little interrupted and he said, what is the commotion about? Then this man got up and he said, what are you talking about? I am God. So Srila Prabhupada posed for so he went on for a little bit to explain why he was God, how he was great and he was supreme. So Prabhupada was very grave and he replied, this is where this wonderful thing that devotees know, Prabhupada used to say, he said, you are not God. He said, you are dog. And he said, everyone, uploaded, there was an uproarious upload by everyone in the audience, including the new guest who had come. They were very happy that Prabhupada, smashed this person down. So, this is one small example that everyone there thinks himself to be the enjoyer. Everyone thinks that he is God somehow or other. He is powerful. Things like that. So it is nice to see that our position is actually like that of a dog, when we think that we are God. So yeah, he said that even the new people, could understand that this Swami was correct, that one who thinks that he is God is actually a dog. So yeah, there's a lot of misunderstanding. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada is actually a very personal personality. I don't know how fortunate I feel, and the devotees who are under the banner of ISKCON are so fortunate to have one of the greatest acharyas that have walked on this planet, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He has brought about a revolution to this, mentality of the people of Kali Yuga who are so misguided. And we are fortunate for the next 10,000 years, this Prabhupada's books will be there. Devotees are preaching, vigorously in all parts of the world. And only if we can make everyone understand this wonderful philosophy of Krishna consciousness, there won't be peace in this world. There's so much happening around the world. But if everyone can understand, Krishna consciousness properly and realize the Supreme Father as Krishna and have compassion and mercy for all the siblings, which are all the living entities, then this world will be another place. This world will be Vaikuntha, Prabhupada said. So some or other, Srila Prabhupada has started this movement wonderfully, and wonderful devotees are taking it forward, and we are all part of this. And I hope one day we will be able to achieve wonderful things by preaching Krishna consciousness. I hope the world leaders are able to understand Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu. One more
Hare
comment
Krishna.
about devotees calling somebody a dog. I remember way back in, I think, maybe 1996, 1997, His Holiness Mahavidhya Swami, the senior, he was in Fiji and he was giving a radio talk. And then it was audience calling and asking questions. One audience called and said, what do you think of this person? He is God. And Maharaj said, no, he is D-O-G. He is dog. That was right on the radio, like Radio Fiji. So many people listening, and people were just amazed. And afterward, there was some bit of a flag. How can a Swami, well-known Swami, be so rude to call somebody a dog?
Right.
So this is Mahavidhya Swami preaching very strongly. So yes, this is true. Thank you. I remember when you said about dog. Hare Krishna. Anybody else got any queries or comments? We got a few more minutes.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you. Hare
Very nice
Krishna.
lecture, Prabhuji. Yes, I was just thinking that there is so much preaching to be done because of the scenario, what is happening today. And most of the other organizations are completely misleading the general public about the concept of who is God. So which shows that Srila Prabhupada's books has to be distributed very vigorously to all the people, and very strong preaching should be done in at every places. And I have also met people who have said that, Krishna is not God. There is something above him. There is a light. And it is so difficult when you hear this. And it is very sad to know how people are getting misled by today's different organizations. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to share. So,
Oh, absolutely agree with your points. Yes, this Krishna conscious philosophy, Srila Prabhupada's books, this message has to be very vigorously preached all over the world. No doubt about that. Prabhupada left 108 temples. Now we had about 800 temples all over the world. And no doubt preaching is going on very nicely. And as you said, yeah, there's so many misguidance in the world as well. There's so many societies, there's so many books, so many bogus gurus. They're trying to mislead people. Yes, therefore the devotees should stand strong and like propagate this message very vigorously. Very, very true. And we should all do our part very nicely. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Okay, we'll end the session here. Mahavidhya Prabhu, thank you very much for your association.
Hare Krishna.
We hope to see you often. Thank you. Dandavat pranam. Panchakalpadravesya,
Hare Krishna.
Mahavidhya Prabhu ki jai. Srila
Hare
Prabhupada,
Krishna.
Gaur Bhakti, Gaur Prem Hari Hari Bol.